we are seeing these strikes, whether it's in the auto sector, threats of strikes in Canada as well. We're also seeing strikes in Hollywood with writers and actors. Are we seeing a shift in bargaining power to the workers now?
Actually, we do believe that since COVID and the current crisis we have is a combination of many crises that definitely is pushing the global situation a little bit more toward the workers really looking for justice, looking for a fair deal. And in ILO, we really want to encourage the social dialogue and therefore the bargaining to really be genuine and to be hopefully to that any strike can end up quickly. Of course, there is a unique situation on the writers and the filmmakers in Hollywood, which pose the whole challenge that AI is posing. Yeah.
I really want to get to that, but I just want to talk more a little bit about this crisis that we're facing in the labor market. Can workers capitalize that to an extent where we can help reduce, say, the gender pay gap, gender discrimination in the workplace? How much progress is being made on that front?
There has been progress, but not sufficient enough. Globally, we see talking about a gender pay gap of around 20%, which is huge on that. So there's a lot of work that we still have to do on different levels to make sure that hopefully before 2030 that this is what we call in the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, 8.5, the target 8.5, that we can reach that goal by before 2030 on that. So, of course, a lot of work needs to still happening on the policy side, but also in encouraging the bargaining and the collective bargaining to make sure that justice, fairness is in place.
On the SDGs, that's one of the reasons why ILO is actually part of the EPIC Secretariat, Equal Pay International Coalition, right? Mm-hmm. Explain to us a little bit, what's the importance of equal work for equal pay for work of equal value, and how really women have been undervalued in terms of some of the work that they've done?
No, quite frankly, it's unexplainable. It's really unacceptable that in the 21st century, women can be paid much less, although for work that they can do. And we see that in different sectors. Of course, it varies also from one country to another country. It started also in the so-called scientific sector, and in sector that traditionally was considered as underpaid, which happened to be sector where you will see a lot of women, like the care economy, for example, or the domestic work. And that is in addition to a lot of the whole unpaid work on that. So we know, for example, Brazil, and today in his statement, President Lula reinforced the law that they just passed, for example, to make it mandatory for every company to ensure that the women have this equivalent salary for equivalent value of work.
Director General, we just spoke about the outsized impact that the pandemic, that COVID-19 had on women and on lower income earners, emerging markets in particular. We know that climate change will be having that outsized effect on those parts of the demographic as well as AI. We were just reading, a recent report from the University of North Carolina saying that up to 80% of women's jobs could be affected by AI. Is it possible to get ahead of these challenges, given that we're sort of coming off the back foot anyway, and given that a lot of the technology is still quite unknown in its application?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remain quite very optimistic that it's still time for it to get ahead on that, simply because, yes, it is true that technology is advancing at a pace that sometimes take all of us by surprise. But if the right policies are put in place today, yes, it's possible. ILO Research Department has done a lot of analysis and study on that. It's very clear to us in ILO that the millions of jobs are going to be lost because of AI and the technology in general. That is given. But at the same token, AI and the technology also are going to create millions of new jobs. So the challenge, in fact, for us is to ensure that we put a policy in place that really allow skill, reskilling, retooling, or upskilling that will allow the category of women, or for that matter of fact, from all workers that are in sectors that are at risk, to be retooled or to be able to upskill their competencies in their sectors, and sometimes to be retrained so they can move from one sector to another sector, so that they can find jobs in the new digital economy. It goes also with the greening of our economy, that we need to make it easier for workers that have to move from the current carbonized economy to a decarbonized and greening economy. So the skill development is key in response to your question.
Gilbert, I wanted to ask about China, because we know there's been an increasing issue when it comes to youth unemployment, but broadly the labour market, the demographics of that population are changing. What insights do you have into what the next 5, 10, 20 years will look like for China?
Of course, when you talk about China and look at the population, is a plus, is an asset. At the same time, it's also a challenge because we know that our estimates indicate that every single year you have 16 million of youngsters that are graduating from university, and they get into the labor market. And of course, the unemployment rate for the youth is higher than the average. We talk about 20-21% unemployment rate compared to a national average. When you look at the 25, 50, 54 years old, the average is in 4.1%. So this is quite a challenge. At the same time, we also know that the Chinese authority are quite very, very, very conscious and focusing on creating opportunities for the youth to be able to engage, either to get jobs or to be able to create their own companies and opportunities. But clearly, this is one of the challenges that China has. Yeah.
Just quickly, what are the biggest trends that you foresee in the next decade when it comes to the labor market, especially given that you're talking about demographic challenges that China faces, and we know that India continues to grow? Yeah.
Yes, but it's still that if you look at the trend of India in the past years and compared to China, you will see that is a bit different, because China was also ahead in the past years. That poses the problem, like we see today, that the growth, in terms of growth rate, in the global north is quite very low compared to the growth rate in emerging economy. But in the two cases, whether we talk about China, whether we talk about India, the youth remain a major preoccupation from the governments.